Hey everybody, this is Amanda at the Monticello Public Library coming back to you with another cooking class. Today we're doing pan-fried tortellini. Today's is probably one of the quickest recipes we've ever done. If you've ever made tortellini, you know it only takes 3 minutes to cook. My tortellini is actually already cooked so that we can do this fairly quickly. But in that 3 minutes time, you would be prepping your ingredients anyway. So as I said, we're doing pan-fried tortellini, and it's out of this great cookbook, Raised in the Kitchen, that we have here at the library, which is a lot of from scratch meals. So right now we have a tablespoon of oil in our pan getting hot, and we're going to add our garlic to it. And all we're going to do is saute our garlic. That usually just takes about a minute to get that going. You'll know because it'll start to change color a little bit and the room will smell wonderful. And then you'll know it's time to add more things. So today what we're working with is oil and garlic. We have carrots, mushrooms, peppers. I used orange and red peppers because that's what we had. Frozen peas and sun-dried tomatoes today as well. We also have mozzarella cheese. It's going to go on the top at the very end. So my garlic is starting to change color. Smells pretty good in here at the moment. So we're going to add our carrots in. And this calls for 1 whole carrot. What I had was the tiny snack carrots. So I just chopped those up small. Use what you have. That's what we talk about all the time with these cooking classes. If what you have is a bag of the small carrots, then use those. So that's what we're doing today. We've just got to cook those. Those cook for like 1 to 2 minutes or so, but you'll notice when they start to soften up a little bit. And carrots take a minute. I am going to turn my burner up, and again, I'm using the induction burner like always that we use here at the library when we do cooking. We love the induction burner. If this is your first class and you've never used an induction burner, the great thing about the induction burner is I can lay my hand on the pot, I can lay my hand on the burner, and I don't get burnt. We do cooking classes with teenagers. Sometimes they get distracted and they like to stick their hand on hot things and they forget. So this is a great way to cook in a small space, number one, or in a space like us where we don't have a stovetop in our program room. Or if you're doing the tiny home thing, an induction burner is another great thing if you're hooked up to electricity, because you can make anything you want on the induction burner. Okay, so I'm also going to add in the peppers, and it's a cup of peppers. Again, today, like I said, I just used orange and red. It calls for sweet peppers, but use whatever you want. If you prefer green, do the green. It doesn't matter. Or if you've got a green one that needs used up in your fridge, by all means. Okay, so that's just cooking. We're going to throw in our mushrooms. It calls for a cup of mushrooms, so I already measured those out into this glass bowl. If your family doesn't like mushrooms, then obviously just skip that part. So we're going to let all that cook for just a second. It says 3 minutes. And I'm going to grab a bowl quick because when these are done, they're going to actually come off and go into a different bowl for a few minutes here. Give that just a second. Okay, we're going to pause right now and we're going to finish up the veggies, and then when we come back to you, we're going to be throwing it all together. Like I said, super simple, real quick. Don't want to take up any more of your time, so we're going to pause right here and I'll be right back. So the veggies are all done and they're in here. What I've done is I've taken 2 tablespoons of the oil out of the sun-dried tomatoes. If you've never used that before, this is packed with flavor because this comes pre-seasoned. This oil is amazing and it's great in lots of different Italian dishes, not just this one. So right now what we're doing is we're heating that oil back up. We're going to get it to the right temperature. Okay. We're going to get that going, and then I'm going to, this is going to go real fast and super simple, guys. So, like I said, my tortellini is already cooked right here. So it's going to go in. And again, this is called pan fried. So after you boil, be sure you drain it real good. I let it sit in my colander for a minute, for several minutes actually while I was doing the rest of this. So the other thing I'm adding in right now is the sun-dried tomatoes in their juices, so there's a little more oil and juices in there, and if this gets a little dry, I'll actually add some more. And I have some oil behind me as well, so we're going to saute this together here real quick. I'm going to crank my heat up one more. This smells really good. So right now, all that's in my pan is the oil from the sun-dried tomatoes, and the tortellini. That's all that I've got in there right this minute. This says to cook this for 3 or 4 minutes until this tortellini begins to brown. So you're literally frying the tortellini right now. That's what you're doing. So you want your heat hot enough that you're not burning it and popping it, but you're getting a little brown texture to the outside. So I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to crank that heat up one more time, so that'll go fast. And then we're going to just basically throw everything else in this pan when this is done. But we want a good coat, kind of brown coat, I should say, on this tortellini. We want it to taste fried. So we want it to have a little bite to it, so it's okay to let it set, just don't let it stick. That's why I keep checking, because pasta will stick when you don't have a lot of liquid in the pan, obviously. And since we're frying it, we want to keep it moving. We don't want anything to stick, and we don't want the cheese, from our cheese tortellini, to burst in the pan either. I mean, it would probably taste good, it would be just fine, but trying to prevent that. Okay, so we are getting a little brown color on it now. I'm going to give it about a minute here. I got a little bit of it that's not very brown right there. There we go. I'm going to give it about a minute, and then we're going to throw everything in, and literally we will be done. I'm going to reach for my cheese so that we can get that done. And remember, this is a question that I've gotten from the teenagers several times when we've used frozen veggies. Aren't you going to cook them first? Aren't you going to cook them first? Remember, the heat from the pan will cook your frozen veggies. It's not like cooking veggies from a can. It's not the same thing. All right, so we're going to add everything back in. And the oil that's in the other veggies. So remember, in this we have carrots, mushrooms, garlic, and our peppers. And I used orange and red today. Feel free to use whatever you like, or whatever your family likes. And that little oil from the veggies is going to help fry this up too. And in goes our frozen peas. We're going to get that all together. I may hit this with a little oil. We're going to see. Because obviously our peas need to cook. And I am going to. I'm going to hit it with just a little oil, guys. Okay, I went in with another tablespoon is what I added. Because I don't want this to stick while it's frying. This is becoming a beautiful color. So if you can see, the pasta is not white anymore. It's got that yellow tanned look. That look of summer on the pasta, of course. The peas are cooking. You can kind of tell. And frozen peas cook really fast. 3 or 4 minutes in a pan is plenty. I'm going to come in and hit this with a little salt and pepper. You season it however you like for your family. As you know, I love garlic, so I'm going to hit it with some garlic powder, and I love Italian seasoning, so we're going to come in with just a little of that. Again, season to taste. There's already garlic in this. I don't have to hit it hard. The flavors are going to be good. You don't even have to add seasoning. This recipe doesn't call for anything other than salt and pepper, to be quite honest. But you can do whatever you want. It smells wonderful in here. Okay, we are about done. So I have a partial bag of cheese I'm going to put in first. I'm just using shredded mozzarella today, guys. Use whatever you like. I, at home, tend to use the 3 cheese Italian blend. There's several different brands you can buy. I buy whatever usually is the cheapest, especially if I'm using it in a recipe. We're going to turn our heat down because all we need to do right now is melt this cheese, and then we're going to be ready to eat. So again, use whatever cheese. If you have fresh parm at home, throw fresh parm in this. That's just going to add another layer of flavor. You know, start with your mozzarella and you got a little bit of fresh shaved parm left from another meal. Throw that in there. So this is our finished dish, guys. This is pan-fried tortellini. We will link the recipe to the video below. Again, the recipe is in this book that you'll find in our library, Raised in the Kitchen, great cookbook. I've made, this is the 4th thing out of this cookbook since we got it here in-house, trying some different things. So thanks for joining us today, and we will see you next time.